Certificate issuance. In this chapter, our primary focus will be on the processes involved in renewing, modifying, or removing certificates. You can choose between connecting to one of the listed certification issuance providers or manually entering the URL. Acme Services. Sometimes, you may need to modify an existing Acme service, either because you want to change trusted certificates or update your account details. Previously configured Acme services can be easily located and edited within the AnyNode frontend. To access this menu, please follow these steps. Go to the Extras section. Select Certificate Issuance and Acme Services. The Acme Service Assistant will open. If an Acme provider requires a trusted certificate, it should be placed here. Click Add to add any certificates that are required to communicate with the Acme server. If your Acme provider does not require a trusted certificate, you can easily skip the input form by clicking Next. Accounts. You will receive an overview of all configured Acme accounts for your selected Acme provider. The most critical information regarding the account used for the Acme service can be found in the account overview. This includes the account's name, which is usually the default contact email address. When you provide a contact email address, it will be automatically shared with Acme providers. Acme providers typically use this email address to send expiration notifications via email. Additionally, the certificate orders are listed along with the common names used. Click Add to create a new account or Edit to modify an existing account. In our example, we will add a new account in the next chapter. Name. The name of the Acme service, when automatically created by AnyNode through the other Acme Service Assistant, typically matches the name of the Acme provider being used. You can change it for your needs. Close the Acme Service Assistant with Finish. You do not need make a commit here. Everything configured via the upper menu, web server connectors, backends, etc., is currently applied immediately as soon as you close the window with Finish or OK. Acme account. To utilize the services of your Acme provider, you must accept its terms of service. Click Next to proceed. External account binding. These account credentials, example EABKID and EABMAC are only required with certain Acme providers such as ZeroSSL or GoDaddy. You can change them here if required. Click Next to proceed. Contact address. When a contact email address is provided, it will be automatically shared with Acme providers. They typically use this email address to send expiration notifications via email. Click Add to modify a new email address or Edit to change an existing email address. Click Next to proceed. Account private key. The account private key can be either generated by AnyNode, or you can provide your own private key. It is required for decrypting messages that have been encrypted with the corresponding public key. Select the private key file you wish to import, double-click in the white field to manually enter the private key, or click Generate a new private key. Click Next to continue. Certificate orders. This list displays all certificates ordered by the Acme account. For further details on certificate orders, please refer to the information provided in the Certificates chapter. Click Add to modify a certificate order or Edit to make changes to an existing certificate order. You can delete an existing certificate order by selecting Remove. Click Next to proceed. Name. Choose a name that assists in identifying this account. The assistant will automatically use the previously provided contact email address, but you are also free to choose a different name. Click on Finish to close the Acme Account Assistant. Certificates. In this chapter, our primary focus will be on editing or renewing certificates through an Acme service, while also exploring the additional display options in the certificate issuance status. To access this menu, please follow these steps. Go to the Extras section. Select Certificate Issuance and Certificates. The Certificate Issuance Status Overview displays all issued certificates, including Acme Provider Details, including the Acme Provider URL. The Acme account name was used for issuing the certificate. The common name of the certificate, along with the status of the certification order. Choose a certificate order and click Edit. Subject. The Certificate Order Assistant will open. The input mask labeled Subject identifies the entity for which the certificate is issued. The distinguished name will be generated from the other fields of the subject mask. It is important to note that the inclusion of fields other than the common name in the issued certificate depends on the Acme provider's support for domain validation, organization validation, or extended validation. The extent to which these fields are utilized can vary between providers. For more information about ZeroSSL and Let's Encrypt, please refer to their respective documentation or resources. Click Next to proceed. Subject Alternative Names. The Subject Alternative Names input field allows you to associate various values with a security certificate. You can later add hostnames or IP addresses for which the certificate is valid. Click Add to add more hostnames or Edit to modify existing entries. We will now demonstrate how to add a subject alternative name. To do this, click on Add. Enter a subject alternative name. The used subject alternative names need to point to the machine where the certificate is generated because the Acme provider will send a challenge to those SANs. If even one of them doesn't work, the certificate cannot be issued. Click on OK. The input fields for subject alternative names and subject will be automatically adjusted by the assistant when input is provided in one of the fields. Click Next to continue. Certificate Renewal Settings. It's important to monitor certificate expiration dates and proactively renew certificates to avoid disruptions in secure communication. AnyNode provides easy certificate management with automation capabilities for continuous certificate updates. In this input mask, you can configure if and when the certificate should be renewed. The default setting in AnyNode is automatic certificate renewal 35 days before the certificate expires. You can customize this value, but please be mindful of your Acme provider's rate limits. Additionally, you have the option to disable automatic renewal entirely and manually renew the certificate through the Acme provider, which we will cover in the Renew Certificate chapter. When the renewal time is reduced, it's possible that the AnyNode monitor may issue a warning about certificate expiration for that certificate. You can configure this warning in the monitor settings under Extras, the Monitor Settings Certificates. Click Next to proceed. Key size and signing algorithm. The desired key length of the private key can be chosen. Larger key lengths are generally more secure but may take longer to generate. For signing, the choice of a signature algorithm is essential. For increased security, especially for certificates with a long lifespan or those used in critical applications, key lengths of 3072 bits or higher are recommended. The default value in AnyNode is 4096 bits. Selecting a signature algorithm with the hash function SHA-1 increases compatibility with the remote station. However, other hash functions e.g., SHA-256 are considered more secure. The recommended signature algorithm for a certificate is typically RSA with SHA-256, which is also the default value in AnyNode. Please note that some Acme providers no longer support SHA-1 due to its high vulnerability. Click Next to proceed. Extended settings. You should use the Acme provider's default root certificate when it meets your trust and security needs. Enforcing an alternate root certificate is typically reserved for situations where you have specific trust, compliance, or control requirements that cannot be met by the default certificate chain. Your choice should align with your organization's security and trust policies. Click Next to proceed. HTTP challenge. Select a web server connector on which HTTP challenges for the certificate order should be answered. You can also create a new connector or edit existing ones by clicking on the pen icon. For more information, refer to the Acme Challenge Connector chapter. Click Next to proceed. Name. Setting up a name will help you identify this order later in the certificate issuance status. The assistant will set the distinguished name of the certificate subject to the name by default. In our example, we will accept it. Click Finish to close the assistant. Everything configured through the upper AnyNode menu, web server connectors, backends, certificates, is always applied immediately when you close the window or complete the assistant. A commit is not required at this point. Renew certificate. It's important to monitor certificate expiration dates and proactively renew certificates to avoid disruptions in secure communication. AnyNode provides easy certificate management with automation capabilities for continuous certificate updates. If you have disabled the automatic renewal of the certificate or you changed the list of SANs, you can perform the renewal manually. To access this menu, please follow these steps. Go to the Extras section. Select Certificate Issuance and Certificates. By selecting the certificate and clicking Renew Certificate, a modal will appear asking for confirmation. Certificate renewals are typically subject to Acme provider rate limits. Please refer to the rate limits documentation at Let's Encrypt for further information. Manual renewals are often triggered for testing purposes. In such cases, it is advisable to use the staging server of the respective Acme provider. Confirm the modal with Yes. After renewing the certificate issuance status should indicate that the order has been completed, the authorization is valid, and the challenge was successful. Show certificate. By double-clicking the certificate entry or clicking Show Certificate, you can access more information about the issued certificate. When migrating your AnyNode to a new environment, you may need to download and install the certificate on the new environment. Regularly downloading and securely storing your certificates is a good practice for backup and disaster recovery scenarios. This ensures that you have a copy of your certificates in case of unexpected events. Use the download options, if needed, by selecting Download PEM or Download DAR. Click on Close to get back to the overview. Order new certificate. By clicking Add, you can initiate the process to order a new certificate. The usage of the Certificate Issuance Assistant is explained in the Configure Existing Node with Acme and Create HTTPS Connector chapters. Remove certificate. The Remove button deletes only the ordered certificate, not the Acme services or the Acme Challenge connector. Acme Challenge connector. If the network configuration of your AnyNode changes, such as altering IP addresses or ports, you must adjust the Acme connector accordingly to ensure proper communication with the certificate provider. To access this menu, please follow these steps. Go to the Extras section. Select Web Server and Connectors. In our example, we will edit the existing Acme Challenge connector. Choose the desired connector and click on Edit. HTTP type. The Web Server Connector Assistant will open. An unencrypted HTTP connection is required for the HTTP 01 challenge. For more information, refer to the Certificate Challenge chapter. Select Use a simple unencrypted HTTP connection. Click Next to proceed. Services. To reduce the attack vector, the services offered via a connector can be restricted. At the very least, the Acme service needs to be activated here. We recommend using the default value to open the connector only when necessary to fulfill the services. Click Next to proceed. Network and port. Define an IP address filter here. The web server will bind to one appropriate IP address that matches the filter. You can choose the IP address to be used here. It is recommended to select both an interface and an IP address. Port 80 cannot be used by any other program on the AnyNode machine with the selected interface IP address. The port will only be opened when a challenge is initiated for certificate renewal or a new certificate issuance. Click Next to proceed. Name. Specify the name of the web server connector. It can be used to differentiate between different connectors. The assistant will suggest a name, and we will accept it. Click Finish to close the assistant. Everything configured through the upper AnyNode menu web server connectors, backends, certificates is always applied immediately when you close the window or complete the assistant. A commit is not required at this point. You have now familiarized yourself with the Acme Web Server Connector Assistant and its various configuration steps, and you are able to make changes here. If you want to enable external access to the AnyNode frontend using an HTTPS connector, the following chapter, Create HTTPS Connector, is the most suitable choice for you.